So there's another way that you can tell if a graph is a function or not, and that is if you can solve for y and get one equation, you have a function. So oftentimes people think, well, that's always going to be the case, but not necessarily. I have 3y plus 2x equals 6, and I solve for y. I have 3y equals negative 2x plus 6. Divide off by 3. And I get y equals, and there's just one equation, negative 2/3 x plus 2. So this was a function. However, if I'm given a problem like this, x squared plus y squared equals 9, and I try to solve for y, I subtract x squared from both sides, and then to get rid of the square, I have to take the square root. Here's where the problem lies. When I put a square root into the problem, I also have to put in the plus or minus symbol. And because I put in those two symbols, that means I've got two separate equations. So if I were actually going to write this up or type it into my calculator, I would have to type in the positive square root, 9 minus x squared, and the negative square root, 9 minus x squared. Because there's two separate equations, this is not a function. Okay, there's another way that you can tell as well, and that way is if you're given a graph. So for example, if I go back to x squared plus y squared equals 9, that's the graph of a circle with center at 0, 0, with a radius of square root of 9, which is 3. So I can draw in the circle, sort of, right? And then there's something called the vertical line test that says if I can run a vertical line across the picture and not hit twice, then it's a function. And see how this one hit twice? It doesn't matter where I draw it in. If it hits twice, it's not a function. So because it failed the vertical line test, this one did anyway, then it's not a function. All right, but if I draw in my line, what was our line back up here? Negative 2/3 x plus 2. So go up to 2, and go down 2 to the right 3, and draw in your line. This is a function, because again, we could solve for the equation and get one variable, or one equation back. But I also, if I do the vertical line test on it, it only hits one time. It doesn't double over on itself. Because it doesn't double over on itself like the circle did, it is a function. So that's another way you can tell if it's a function or not.